A lot of things are happening in this scene, and the thing that makes it even more tragic is that when Lucas is throwing something in Brooke's face, she has to acknowledge more than just him being unwrong about what her perception is of not just herself, but her perception and the perception on her in the world of One Tree Hill. Because if you remember the school shooting, that's the moment that Brooke realizes that a lot of the things that she's done to people have affected the reason for this school shooting. Because as we have discussed in a previous video, we discussed that Brooke is just like her protege, or the person who molded her or whatever, of being a tyrant, being bitchy, wicked, doing malicious things, manipulating people, backstabbing people, and all that stuff. But we don't really necessarily talk about it because the only side we see of Brooke is of the victim of being heartbroken, and that's what people relate to more than anything, being heartbroken. Now, with that being said, when Brooke realizes that Lucas is still in the school with Peyton, and there is a parent coming up to Brooke asking about her child, being like, I'm looking for my child. Do you know where she is? She says that you are friends. That's Brooke realizing that that's somebody I possibly mentally tortured or made fun of through high school. And now their child is going home trying to flip it around to make it seem like it's all sweet, when in reality, I possibly could have caused this child to want to bring a gun to school while my boyfriend is trapped in the school with the love of his life, who I'm also pretending is not of existence because I want what I want, and I'm causing more trauma just because of my heinous ways. Now, with that being said, when Lucas brings that back up, all that stuff is being thrown in her face, while also acknowledging that by the time he was trying to commit to Brooke, she chose to be with someone else, not based on a real idea of what she wanted from him, but based on the fact that she was choosing the people she knew she wanted to be with regardless of Lucas, if that makes sense. When somebody's showing you all the choices that they can have and they're choosing those choices repeatedly, there's a good chance that they're not really that into you. So when Lucas chooses Peyton to go travel off after a night of Brooke and him making out, it kind of signaled what was already happening regardless. So we're looking at a manipulator and a victim who is, Lucas is the victim and Brooke is the manipulator, but somehow Brooke is the victim because she is the manipulator who can't get her way, and everyone wants her not to get her way because they only see the one-sided story from Lucas's perspective, while Peyton sees the story from a whole different perspective too, because she's also watching Brooke be bitchy, cause problems, cause people to want to bring guns to school, because that's Brooke's character. You're not looking at it from the perspective of all the things, because from the perspective you're looking at it from is Lucas's perspective. And Lucas's perspective is Brooke's just a promiscuous girl who's trying to have a good time. But in reality, when that school shooting happened, Brooke is this girl who is very vicious and mean and cruel, hurting all these individuals who go home and are like, oh no, Brooke is my best friend and everything is fine and we're good with each other and she treats me with so much kindness. But this is also a parent coming to look for her child saying, where's my child? Where is this child that tells me that you're this amazing person who like looks at you and admires you and all this stuff, but this is also the same child that you behind the scenes make fun of and torture and mentally abuse. So when Brooke's crying, it's not just because she's crying over Peyton and Lucas happening again. She's crying because everybody is looking at her like you're the biggest fake that you could ever believe to be, and the good person that you are is not there. It's a whole big thing. But I always thought it was interesting because when Lucas uses that trump card, he's using it because even though he did kiss Peyton, it still shows that he's like, he knows what's happening. He's like, he's very aware. He's like, okay, so I chose to kiss Peyton. I chose to be with somebody who I really wanted to be with, and it wasn't you. Can you overlook it like I overlooked the whole thing with Chris Keller? It's not necessarily a one-sided thing. They both wanted to be with different people, but Lucas is still mad at Peyton because Peyton still won't let him be with her, which it's not wrong to be mad at her for it, because even though he's honest about it, she's the one who's always pulling back and saying, no, I don't want it. And I think that's very gentleman of him to say, okay, you're saying no, which everybody says that that's what they want. Everybody's like, hey, look, when I say no, I mean no. They embrace that and get on board with that. Jump on the train. That's very gentleman of him to do that, to say, okay, so you're saying no, but Brooke is saying yes. I'm going to go over here and be with the person who's saying yes. I mean, he's acknowledging that, yes, you chose to be with somebody else like I chose to be with someone else, but we're choosing to be together now, so let's just get over it and keep going.